These are all guys who have really embraced the 2X mindset. One of the things that we talk about quite often is who wants to 2X their firm? Me. Who wants to 2X their firm? All right. So one of the things that we talk about is that mentality. There's that mentality. A lot of times people don't even think about that. Like before you guys kind of came into our world, who here was even thinking about the concept? David Bruno. Everybody give a round of applause for David Bruno. All right. Who here was even thinking about the concept of 2Xing your law firm? Anybody? All right. So Deidre was. Craig was for sure. We had a few. All right. But these are guys that have made that mentality shift. And I want to ask them some questions so that you guys can kind of hear what the mentality shift has done for their law firm. So I'm just going to go down a panel. I'm going to ask you guys some questions, and you guys can just answer. So the first question I had is, what problem did you guys have before you kind of started getting into this mindset? And I'll let David Bruno go first. But before you kind of got into this 2X your law firm mindset, before you started working with us, what was the problem that you had with your firm?
Well, I don't think it was a problem. It was a limiting belief in the sense that, look, I'm a former homicide prosecutor, and my law partner is the former head county prosecutor as well. And we were very good at what we did. I mean, we're trial attorneys. We're kick-butt trial attorneys in the courtroom. And since we left the prosecutor's office in 2013, all the way up until COVID, it was just the two of us, right? And I think there's a limiting belief out there that you're the only ones that could do the job. And that's where we were as well. Who's going to replace us? Our attorneys want us. Our attorneys want Bob and Dave. You know, so the breaking out of that, and when we started running the ads and scaling, we had to come up with a solution as to how the quality remained the same so that the clients would be satisfied with anybody other than Bob and Dave. And we do that through huddles. So we have a morning huddle every single morning at 9:30 with the partners, the attorneys, the support staff, the whole entire crew. And we're going through cases together as a team. And it's a team approach. So while they don't have Bob and Dave as the individual primary attorneys, they're getting us and our input in the morning huddles. And it's also something that's a unique selling proposition that's used in the sales calls as well. When the sales team is talking about our service, it's an additional benefit that they're getting. They're getting primary attorneys, and by the way, they're all former prosecutors. That's the team of former prosecutors. So they're kick-ass attorneys as well. But it allows us to scale now and not have that limiting belief that it could just be us two.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Round of applause for that response. All right. So, Dave Buckley, what was the problem or the challenges that you faced before you kind of adopted this mindset and before you kind of got into this entire crazy world that we're in now?
Well, the challenge was, I know now, hindsight's 20/20, but the challenge was just realizing that this is my life until I retire or die at my desk, like a lot of us might do if we don't change. And it was really the status quo that I really learned was really killing my motivation. It was killing my wanting to even come back into the office, the drudgery of it all. And it wasn't until I started marketing and got the lead abundance in, and then from that, getting the number of cases in and getting the revenue and realizing I had to change the way I managed my office and learning how to do all that, it was transformative. And it really changed. You heard the word mindset over and over and over again today. It really did change my mindset. But really, the triggering event was my wanting to change. I mean, a lot of you are here because you want to change. A lot of you got on a plane and spent money and are here today because you want to change. But are you going to change? Those who are on the Zoom call, are you going to change? That's hard. Change is a hard thing to do. Very hard for me. If you don't wake up in cold sweats, if you don't have self-doubts, if you're not arguing with your spouse about the changes you want to make, if you're not having knockdown, drag-out arguments with the people who have been working with you for years, you're not doing it right. You're not changing. Last July, I went to get my hair cut from Rocky's right down the street from my office, like I usually do on a Friday afternoon, and Rocky's was closed. And I said, you know, why am I even getting a haircut? If that's the thing I do all the time, is that my status quo? You know what? I'm not going to get a haircut, and I haven't since last July. And,
All right.
and really, it's an outward manifestation of my change. I'm showing the world that I've changed. I had 2 senior citizen women come into my office on Monday, Portia and Jane. Portia came in first. She was a Will client, and she's been my client for years. And Portia, who hadn't seen me for quite some time, says, I love your hair, Attorney Buckley. You look wonderful. I said, thank you, Portia. I appreciate that. Jane came in. A couple hours later, she goes, that's not a good look. And so I said, you know, and my staff laughed, but I said to them, after my clients left, I said, no one is going to always like what you're doing. You're going to have some people who like your change. You're going to have some people who don't like your change. But it's your decision to make. You're the one driving the bus, right? It's your life. It's your vision, right? And so if you're going to change, you need to make the commitment to change. I tell some people every now and then that when I'm on the Zoom call and I see however many people are there, there's maybe 70 or 80 people, I think to myself, how many are actually going to change? And I think probably less than half are going to change or make the decision to do the things that are going to cause them to have more revenue or to have a better workplace. And it kind of makes me smile in a sense because I realize if the people who are being informed on how to make the change aren't making the change, then our competitors who don't know anything about this certainly aren't making the change. You know, so that's good news. But if you haven't changed yet, if you're just sitting here getting information like Bill said before, you're paying for the information, what are you going to do about it? You need to make the affirmative choice to change. Tonight, if you haven't made any changes yet, or if you made some changes tonight, when you brush your teeth, use your non-dominant hand. If you're right-handed, use your left hand to brush your teeth. If you're right-handed, use your left hand to brush your teeth.
It's homework for
Why?
everybody.
That's a change. You're doing something different, okay? If you need that triggering event, then do that. Then do that because you are all in a wonderful opportunity, and out there in Zoom land too, you have a wonderful opportunity with all the information that you have. And these vibrant young men, and they are young men. I'm 61 years old, so everyone's young to me. But the information that they have for you, so long as you apply it, and you can apply it, because this isn't brain surgery. I always say, I am not the smartest person in the room, but I know who is, right? I always know who is. I've never claimed to be the smartest person. Well, and that's, you know, if you think you are, you need to leave the room, okay? Because, you know, only you are in a position to recognize who can help you. Who, not how, right, Bill? Yeah, and I recommend that book all the time. And one more book I want to recommend, Fierce Conversations by Susan Scott. Some of the things you were touching on this morning are in that book, Fierce
really?
Conversations.
I'll have to
so
check that
I'm
out.
going to pass the mic over to
All
Phil
right.
Rizzuto.
David Buckley, round of applause. Thank you, David Buckley.
go.
All right, Phil Rizzuto, your answer to that question as well.
Well, like the song says, I have 99 problems. And at this point, lead abundance isn't one of them.
All right.
So,
Round of applause for that.
you know, my story's a little different. I've half-exed my law firm in the past 2 years. Before COVID, I had a staff of 17 people. I did work for a major insurance company in New York City that insured taxi cabs, and about half my practice, maybe a little more, may have been devoted to doing that. And I also did plaintiff's personal injury and a large nursing home neglect practice, also on the plaintiff side. So when COVID hit and the court shut down, I looked at my bank account and I said, I'm not going to make the next payroll. So I let 10 people go. And actually, it was more than that. It was 12. We were down to 5 by the end of April of 2020. And I started listening to this kid doing these webinars on PPP. It was like, I had nothing else to do. The phone wasn't ringing. I wasn't going to court. had nobody to talk to because I let my staff go, so I started watching this guy named Bill Hauser. And the first thing that Bill did that saved me was I got my PPP. So I was able to continue the firm going for a little while. And by June, I was able to bring back one of the attorneys. So we were 3 attorneys and 3 paralegals. And every week I watched Bill. And by July, he convinced me, $3,000, you can go all in and hire us as your marketing firm. And I think Andy brought it up before about how many emails you get from marketing firms. And I was like, I don't know, but you know what, $3,000 I can do that. And so I reached out to SMB, and I started using their marketing services. And within a month, my calls volume on new case calls went from 5 to 10 a month on direct cases to about 35. Now we're between 40 and 50 calls a month.
All right.
Don't applaud me. All right. The only thing I did was send them $3,000 a month.
But you had the courage to do it. That's the important part.
No, well, I had the courage.
Yeah.
I had the courage. But a big part of it was I trusted Bill, and I do trust Bill. And then Bill had this guy on one of the shows named Andy Stickle. And Andy provided a lot of good information, and I'm watching Andy's videos. I'm like, oh, maybe I should have went with Andy. So I'm watching Andy's videos, but I committed to Bill, and Bill was doing a good job. And I kind of realized they both did separate things. And one day on Facebook, I sent Andy a message on the Facebook page about videos, and he called me up. We spoke on the phone for about an hour, and I hired them to do my website, which launched at the end of November. And I can tell you, it's amazing going through the calls where they show you like the grid on where you were and where you are and where you're going to go. It's just amazing. And I've mentioned it before. I'll say it again here today. I can't wait to make more money, to spend more money, because just seeing how it worked with such a minor commitment is mind-blowing.
Minor commitment, but it was a gut-wrenching decision.
Yeah.
Well, considering I never did marketing, and considering I did a lot of defense work, and one of the 2 reasons I didn't do marketing. I didn't want to spend the money, and I didn't need to spend the money because I was getting a ton of cases on referrals. So I got other firms spending the money on marketing, and I pay them a referral fee. So it was, in my mind, better for me because I don't have to pay the money monthly. I pay them when I get paid. But the other thing was, as a defense attorney, you don't want to be going out there making stupid TikToks and Instagram videos promoting your personal injury stuff, which is now what I do daily. I'm doing that, and I stopped taking the defense work. And the last thing I'll say is, one of the things that led me to that decision to hire Bill in July of 2020 was we started having these regular staff meetings. Again, thanks to watching Bill and taking the suggestions.
Thanks to my mentors. I didn't come up with that.
And I paid out $500,000 in referral fees in 2019. And I said, imagine if I spent that money on marketing, right?
Oh, wow.
So the $3,000 a month that I started out with is a bargain. And I've 4 times, 5 times the number of case calls that are now direct cases. as opposed to case referrals. So, in 2 years, we're going to be talking about how I 10x my firm, and I thank you. Because,
Awesome, Phil. All right, so I got one final question for each of you, and we're going to go for about a 1-minute response, and then we're going to bring up the Kentucky Hammer, Daryl Isaacs himself. Everybody, round of applause for Daryl Isaacs. All right, so my last question is, now that you've kind of taken on this new mindset and you're implementing, how has that what impact on your life has that had outside of the firm?
still growing pains.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, yesterday I had a conversation with my office manager, telling her that I would be looking for a new office manager. And, again, it has to do with the mindset. There's a way we want to do things. There's a way we're going to do things. And if it's not done that way, things are going to change. So Bill talked about it earlier, high-value task is hiring people. We've been trying to hire somebody since September, another paralegal, and I get, I can't find anybody, people are canceling interviews, blah, blah, blah. There's one excuse after the other. And finally, about a month ago, I said, I'll do it. Right? And in my mind, I hear Bill saying it's a high-value task, hiring people is a high, and on the other side of my shoulder, Bill saying, don't go back, you have to delegate, So I'm like, well, what do I do? And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take it. And I hired somebody, a good paralegal, college graduate. She wants to go to law school, and she accepted the job. And I found somebody, and I hired her within a week. So it's changed my mindset because I've had everybody in my secretary who's with me. I started with the firm in March 1st of 1994, there's your secretary. She's still my secretary. My office manager's been there 15 years. And during one of the meetings, one of the attorneys said, well, what would these coaches say about, how you treat people that have been with you for so long? They would say, we're like a family. I said, oh, no, I'll get them on the phone right now. I said, no. I said, this is the way it is. We have to either evolve, or it's just going to be constantly repeating. I've had this firm since 2005, and we've been in business, but we've never grown. And a big part of us not growing was because I was always on trial. I was doing the defense work, and I was sort of happy with the status quo. And now the status quo is changing. We're changing the way we do things. We're changing again, I'm not doing the insurance, the defense work, where I'm not taking any new cases. I'm finishing the ones we had. But it's growing pains because I'm still doing some of the things that I don't want to be doing in your 3-year plan over there. So.
All right, fantastic, Phil. All right, David Buckley, rapid fire, real quick, less than 1 minute. How has this impacted your life?
It has made me want to come back to the office in the morning. I'm excited to go to work now. I've delegated, I don't know about 80%, but maybe 60% of what I used to do to my staff. They have stepped up. They've accepted the responsibility I've given them. They have surprised me that they were not only capable of doing it, but they excelled at doing it. Things I used to do myself because I thought I could be the only one that can do it, they can do it just as well. They say if someone can do something that's 80% as good as you can, you need to give it to them. And they've excelled at that as well. So I'm excited to come to work in the morning. I have a vision. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to hopefully realize my dreams by the time my goals or my deadlines have been reached, and I think I can do it. No. I know it. Where's Bill? I know I can do it.
Thank you, David Buckley. All right, Dave Bruno, real quick, what have the results of all this been on your life?
Yeah, I think it could be summarized by what you were speaking about this morning, be, do, have.
Yeah.
The B part, it's not just for business. It's not just about your law firms when you're talking about the B. You heard it from Bill as well, about his morning routine, about his meditation, his positivity. It's not just for business, guys. It boils into, it flows into personal lives too, having that mindset, doing all those things. So I think it has positively affected my business and my relationships with family and my children, etc. And I think it's be, do, have, but B is not just for business, it's for you as well.